Hey,
What's up?
how goes it?
Oh, it's going.
Yeah,
Going.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, whew.
So, a couple more surprises in this one.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Quite interesting.
Quite
There's
interesting,
one
but also
thing
quite
that's
filler. Again.
yeah, definitely. Uh, this is not right.
That's not a. Oh, that's okay. It's
It's just a,
different.
it's just a tank,
It's
just
just a
for
fish tank.
basically yes, because they have to keep themselves their skin moist, probably or something. Maybe that's a Quarren thing. I've never seen.
This is not right. It's a.
Just
It's
saying.
a. It's a cylindrical tube of water that they need to survive in. It's totally different. Yeah, I guess it is. She didn't have the thing over her mouth. I guess that's the giveaway.
And she was eating.
Fair point. Only you would pick up on that.
Very observant, I guess.
Observant or obsessed? No, I'm just kidding.
Other than that, I think everything else looks great.
Yeah, I don't know. I have these weird things where I go from like giving no detail to like too much. I don't know. Because it's like I don't want to miss anything, and then I'm like, so I hit back and hit back and hit back again. And it's like, ugh.
Back.
Makes it like not. But even my thing is even if I watch it like 2 times through, I'll still miss stuff. So like, it's hard to like toe that line.
Mm.
But anywho, let's do a show.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Actually, let me just do a thing real quick.
Doing a thing quick.
I am going to send this out somewhere. Like, bring people in somewhat. What's this number? 22.
Yep.
One here, throw one here, and another one over here. Just like. All right. Good to go. Oh, I heard that. And here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to Disnerds Plus, where we talk about your favorite nerdy shows on the Disney Plus. This year's episode 33. Today we're talking about The Mandalorian number 22, Guns for Hire, for Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. I'm Shane.
Oh, hey, Shane. I'm Mike.
Oh, hello. Hello there. How are you doing?
Great.
That's great to hear.
Another interesting episode, I'll say, I guess.
Indeed. I just want to point out quick, we are now officially at the same number of episodes as the first podcast I ever did.
Yeah.
With our mutual buddy Eric, nice. The Wilderness podcast. That one we only did 33 episodes, so here we are. Here we are, back to that number, and I don't see, well, I guess we'll already have exceeded that by a couple by the end of this series.
Yep.
But,
well, we will.
Yes, sir. It's a lot. It's one thing. It's like that one was just hard to come up with content. This one, not so much. Like Disney keeps pumping out content, so
yeah, right. It's just keep it coming, Disney, because then you got more and more episodes.
For sure. Previously on The Mandalorian. That last episode was we had the whole thing with Gorian Chard trying to take over Navarro or reclaim it. I guess he did temporarily. We had Captain Carson Teva, who tried to help out, tried to do something about it. Ended up going to Colonel Tuttle, who was played by Tim Meadows, none other than. Over there on Coruscant, but was denied. We saw Elia Kane, trying to get him to sign the charter and everything. Navarro to sign their charter. And then he instead went to the Mandalorian covert and warned them. So then Djarin and Bo-Katan both, along with the rest, convinced the rest of the Mandalorians to go there and help him out. And, of course, they did. Brought down, was able to take out the pirates there within the city, as well as the ship itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the unexpected thing of the armorer asking Bo-Katan to suddenly take off her helmet. Can't really make up her mind what she wants. With helmets on, helmets off, but because she's part of
the game.
Because she lives both worlds, she was able to do that, and then basically asked her to go bring the rest of the Mandalorians in, bring them all together. And then at the end, we also saw Teva coming across a derelict Lambda shuttle, which was missing, had nothing but bodies in it, except for the one being Moff Gideon. And so more to come on that.
And there was Beskar stuck in the hull.
Oh yes, which points to a direction. Yeah, points to a Mandalorian direction of some kind.
Yeah,
some Mandalorian origin. I mean, even if it is a separate sect of the Mandalorians, like it might not even be that. Like we had season 2 featured a lady that had a Beskar, what do you call it? Staff or whatever.
Yeah, it was a spear.
Polearm spear, yeah. So, I mean, clearly not only Mandalorians can possess it. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. So I decided to do something a little different with this episode, though. Wanted to quick mention what they deemed on their previously area, because sometimes it almost always pertains to this particular episode. But it's good to see some, like, they'll go back in previous seasons and talk about certain things. So this one started off with showcasing the night owls again. Night. Is that right? Night owls.
Yeah, night owls.
Yeah, the three that we saw in season 2, being Sasha Banks and this other gentleman, which obviously her name's not Sasha Banks. His name, as we find out in this episode, is Axe Axe
Wolves. Wolves.
Axe Woves. Yep.
Axe
Not
Wolves.
to be confused with
And
wolves.
Koska Reeves is Mercedes Varnado.
Yes.
Or AKA Sasha Banks. Or
so
AKA Snoop Dogg's cousin.
Oh, is that right? I don't know if I knew that. I probably heard that at one point. It shows them when they're rescuing Din Djarin out of the ship, little corridor in the center with the monster in it, and we see clips again of Moff Gideon explaining who owns the Darksaber. We see the bummed out Bo-Katan in her castle, and we see Din Djarin getting captured on Mandalore and rescued by Bo, and then we see once again the armor asking Bo to remove her helmet, and all the talk of retaking Mandalore and everything once again.
Yep.
So in this episode, we start with, and I don't know if this is considered a frigate or what type of ship exactly.
I would just say it's a transport, maybe.
Quarren ship, though? That's the...
Sure, yeah. It's because it looked like a Quarren head, almost.
It's like, I'll call them the Davy Jones race.
There you go.
Like they're not fish people, not like the Mon Calamari, but the...
they're squid people.
Squidbillies.
Well, yeah, something.
So we see one of the Quarren feeding the captain, ends up being the captain of the ship in a tank, which, as Mike corrected me, is not a bacta tank, since, well, they are squid people, and apparently they need the water, and yeah, feeds
Keep
her a fish.
Themselves lubricated or something. I don't know.
Right, moist. All right, did that for just to trigger people. Yeah, feeds her a little fish in there. And, so like, because, as I pointed out, I guess she didn't have the little, like, mouth thing over her. That does seem to be sort of a defining characteristic of a bacta tank, and, the tube. But, yeah, none of that. Just in the center, though, of the bridge of the ship. It's kind of an interesting place for it, but... So they notice an Empire, I guess it was a Star Destroyer, right?
Yep. This is Star.
Shows up.
Star Destroyer. No, it was like something else. It was like a mid-sized Star Destroyer kind of thing.
So it was or wasn't a Star Destroyer?
It was Moff Gideon's.
I didn't say a super Star Destroyer. I just said it's just a plain Star Destroyer.
I don't know if it's even a Star Destroyer, though.
Whatever. It's an Empire ship. And they don't
specify. There you go. Empire ship worked.
So they go ahead and hail them. And the person on the other end, at first I'm thinking this is going to be Moff Gideon right away, And it is not. It is, in fact, the aforementioned Axe Woves. They say... She's all apologetic because she's like, oh, I didn't mean anything by, calling you warlords or whatever. And that basic isn't her native tongue. And that's, where did I read it? Galactic Basic, I think, is the, full name of it. Which is, English, as we know it, at least in the show, whenever they're... Yeah.
It's the human language.
It's it's common in, fantasy worlds, they will refer to that language as, I believe. just kind of like the
Basic.
primary language. But
Basic language.
you know, he explains that they're not Imperial and that they actually came to track her down. And her being Captain Shugath, which sounds like like a weird way of saying sugar or something. But they specifically because she had this relationship with this Mon Calamari member, was he a member of royalty of some kind?
Royal family,
like a prince of some kind.
The Quarren, or no, the Calamari family is royalty.
Fish
I
people.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, they're part of the fish world.
The fish federation.
Federation of fish.
I like alliteration. But so at first she denies it, but then outruns this prince shortly thereafter and says, "But my
like
love,
Romeo
we are
and Juliet kind of thing.
They can't take
there.
us away. They can't."
No,
and then she, of course, is like,
"That was Tom Holland's brother, apparently, that was voicing the prince."
Of course, it was. I mean, I did notice he sounded.
What, Tom Holland?
He sounded well. I mean, English, as did the captain. You know, but at the same time, other Mon Calamari I only know as being like.
Because you're only used to, it's a trap.
Exactly. This one sounded a bit different, but the yeah. So she basically said, no, it must happen. And as they sort of, there's a moment of embrace with her tendrils sort of going near
touching
his
face.
Yeah.
Like, is that like a
sign of affection? I assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Mandalorian, I think okay, that's where I have her name there, Casca Reeves, and I think maybe another one of them board the ship to take him away, and then the prince guy is like, I thought Mandalorians were supposed to be honorable, and she says we are for the right
amount of credits,
for a few credits, basically. Yeah.
For a few credits, yeah.
Yeah, for just a few. So then there's a planet that we have not seen before that Bo, Grogu, and Djarin all are
Pleasure 15?
Pleasure.
Pleasure. That's such a weird name.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
And we don't know it initially, and we don't find out until as they're landing there. What we see first, we see that it's this green planet with a bunch of domes on it, and they zoom in. They see the ship. They see the ship of who they know to be her former Mandalorian comrades, including both Casca Reeves and Woves. What's the first name again? I keep track of all these. The Woves guy.
Axe
Woves, yep. And so they see that, and shortly after,
music comes on.
Get a musical jingle.
It's really weird. It's like just took over like everything. Like just took over the ship. Like, oh, we got you. You can't fly away from us. No.
Yeah,
we get you.
A little chime, and an announcer lady starts talking about and assigns them a docking slip. And then, yes, as you mentioned, takes automated guidance, takes full control of the ship, and lands them there at the docking bay. So, as they exit the ship, we see what I would say is a familiar looking droid silhouette from the ship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, at first I'm kind of like, they're not bringing them back, are they?
Nope. It was Imperial droids.
Yes, they were
repurposed Imperial droids.
Both fully black droids, which I guess we've seen that before on like the Death Star or other
Rebels.
ships. It's certainly been seems to be the well, obviously with the Dark Troopers too. It's kind of their preferred shade for the droids.
Black is
back in black.
Pretty yeah. Black and red, black and red, black and yellow, black and
It's a good color combo, I gotta say.
black and red or black and yellow?
Both. Actually. But
I mean, there's a lot of
literally.
colors like with black pretty good. Like black, you can go black and blue, black and green. Well, black and green's kind of dark.
Not quite the same. It's the reason, like when for podcasting stuff, I've literally used those two combinations, used black and red and black and yellow for podcasting stuff in the past. So, anywho, we see a protocol droid of sorts and a what's the R stand for? What is the R unit droids? What is that? Astromech, which isn't an R, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And an astromech droid there, greeting them, basically directing them toward the hyperloop. And as they're approaching these droids, we did see a little sort of like tilt of the head from Grogu, which I kind of wondered if he like also recognized like that combination of droids from Coruscant,
like,
possibly.
Weird. I know these guys. No, I don't know them. Damn it.
Right. Yeah. So they do board one of the Hyperloop pods. And so what's something I wondered about the term Hyperloop, because, you know, like I used to talk about this on Techies when they were first talking about Hyperloops. Just like I was going to say, the idea was picked up by, of course, that's what I thought. This was a Musk thing. It's just kind of funny. I would have thought that would be like a copywritten sort of term almost, but I guess not.
We still haven't even got to the Hyperloop yet, which is crazy, I think. Like, why are we not there yet? Anyway, we're getting
conceived in conceived in 1799.
The Hyperloop
train was invented in 1904. Conceived in 1799, but invented in 1904. That's kind of weird. By Robert H. Goddard, a freshman at Worcester Polytechnic Institute.
And we're still not there. We still haven't even. We have the technology to do it, and we don't do it.
Yeah. Well.
Why?
Hopefully.
Why? We still rely on trains. Anyway, we're getting off track now.
No pun intended. Oh. That's good. So as they're on this Hyperloop, though, they request access. The first thing, they want to go straight to the. I believe it's the Field 3, which is where they wind up being. But they're asked to scan their chain codes, which they do. Which I guess they have those built into their wrist deals. And
it's like a license, basically. That's all it is.
Right. And so then they arrive at. I guess it's a party. I thought it was maybe like the throne room or something. It's a room.
Could have been.
It's more like a dining. It's like a dining hall, I guess. But
the Grand Hall.
They arrive here with a bunch of different people at the table, and at the end is the one and only, the upcoming Bowser himself.
Jack freaking Black. I like how you put that in there.
And I'll admit, like, I wondered if it was Lizzo at first. I don't really like listen to her music.
Me neither.
But I thought she looked kind of familiar at first, and then of course at the end. So I replaced everything I had in here as wife before I replaced with Lizzo.
I was like, what? They got Jack Black, and I didn't expect Lizzo to even be in anything Star Wars related ever.
Right.
And I was like, okay,
yeah,
Lizzo's here.
Right. So Jack Black's playing Captain Bombardier, and I didn't I don't think
Very
they
classy name.
I didn't catch what her name is supposed to be in this.
The Duchess. The
Oh,
Duchess.
she's just the Duchess, which I thought was
just the Duchess.
just reminded me of the Duchess of Mandalore when I heard that.
So, like Bo-Katan's sister?
Right. Which was what, Kreese? Do you remember?
Satine.
Oh, yeah, duh. I always forget that. Always, because it's two reasons I should always remember that. One of which, because of the, not to spoil too much if you haven't watched Clone Wars, but the potential relationship with Obi-Wan. But I always make the connection there because of Ewan McGregor and Satine being the name of his love interest in Moulin Rouge. Just kind of I didn't know if that was intentional. I think it's spelled different, but and then of course also rhyming with Sabine. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's the connection I was thinking of. Thinking that Sabine Wren was, or Sabine that Sabine Wren was somehow related, but that was obviously not correct. But anywho, so Jack Black there greets them, tells them it's a party, and pretty welcoming and everything. And
it's the party.
And Lizzo there, kind of explaining their situation there, how he helped rebuild Plaisir 15 as part of the New Republic amnesty program, which we've seen in previous episodes here with Captain. I almost said Dr. Pershing. I almost said Captain Spaulding, but that's the clown guy from the House of a Thousand Corpses or whatever. Those Rob Zombie movies.
Captain Spaulding?
Yeah. He's, or specifically the only one I ever saw, which was The Devil's Rejects, which is actually a fantastic movie. It's kind of freaky, but it's
Captain Spaulding. Now I'm thinking of like some dude that's like that has a basketball head or something.
He's much scarier than that. But anywho, they so yeah, as we saw Dr. Pershing and Elia Kane in the previous episodes being part of that, of course. But how they rebuilt this and how they had their first democratic election there, and that they needed the Mandalorians as privateers because they couldn't have their own army because of the
Accords,
the laws and everything like that. Yes, the Accords. We also saw Lizzo asking to hold the baby, and
like that had to have been like some kind of term when she's like, "I'll come in here if I can hold the baby," because she was super happy about, "Can I hold the baby?" Like, holy crap!
At first, Djarin is reluctant, says he doesn't do well with strangers, and then she just tempts him with a little, I don't know what that was, a little fish or something,
like fish or something. Yeah.
And does a force flip,
jumped right over
to her, of course.
He's getting really good at the force.
he must trust her, or he just likes food. But so then they talk of that they could potentially see the other Mandalorians on one condition, and then they say, "Oh, we should go see The View. Have you seen The View?" And then they go over, obviously, to speak in private with them. And that's when we start hearing about these malfunctioning droids that they have on the planet, how they are, I guess, rehabilitated battle droids. Although I was a little confused about them all being battle droids because, well, as we'll see shortly here, but they do ask them.
They might, but I don't know if it didn't look like all battle droids.
Right.
But maybe there's some that we never saw, or they're just
rehabilitated droids in general.
Yeah.
But they, I guess what it is but they were all Imperial at one point. Was kind of the point, right?
Or Separatist, one of the two.
Mm-hmm. So they ask for their help as Lizzo's still sitting there, kind of petting Grogu, and
he's like purring though. He's like, oh my god, it's like a cat.
Yeah. So they said, as part of, they said, this isn't, they don't have to do this for free, basically, and how it part of the deal would be that they could recognize Mandalore as a sovereign system and petition the New Republic to also recognize it as such. And Bo-Katan asked Din Djarin, he says, "You had me at battle droids."
Yeah.
So then, cameo number 2 here, or 3.
I would say 3, yeah.
Counting, yeah. Christopher freaking Lloyd.
Dr. Brown.
And I feel kind of bad because he's like, you can tell he's getting older.
He's still doing his thing though.
Yeah, as long as he's capable. He's
I mean, that's why he only had like a little part in there, probably.
Yeah, as they put
like,
in here, the command center of sorts. I guess it's like the security
center, command center, works the same.
He's showing him on some of the surveillance there and starts explaining the droid situation and how they were scheduled to be scrapped on or at Carthan, which I don't know if that's a planet exactly, but
yeah, it's a scrap planet of some sort.
They he says the reprogramming was a complete success until they started going haywire, and that's when he shows the 3 different situations where the droids just start. I mean, it shows them going what looks to be just like a bug, like haywire for no reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's like they're just repurposed, but they're kind of like just going back to their old ways almost.
Right. So Mando and Bo, or one or the other, they ask why not just turn them off, and he shows there's a button for that, but that it was voted against.
Red button.
Yeah, big red button at his control panel there, and said that the citizens voted against any interruption in droid service, and that the citizens are no longer required to work. They basically wouldn't be able to survive by themselves, which is, I feel like that was a message about technology and society in today's day and age. Also,
yeah,
what we do without technology.
If we lost technology, it'd be rough.
Mm-hmm.
That would be. It'd be a little bit chaotic, I would say.
Going back to the Stone Age.
Yep. Once you open Pandora's box, you really can't close it.
Mm-hmm. So he explains that, well, they asked basically for a list of the droids, the malfunctioning droids, and he says, well, you got to go to the lower level and speak to the Ugnaughts. And Mando's kind of like,
I have spoken.
Right. So they take an elevator down there, and as soon as they get down there, or I guess before that, he says that we'll see what happens when you rely on droids, because he's still kind of got that bias,
Beef.
But
probably especially with battle droids, probably has really wouldn't mind slaying some down.
Right. So when they get down there, Bo tries talking to him, and they absolutely nothing. They do not even, show her existence at all. Don't signify her whatsoever. But then Mando starts talking, and he name drops Queel, like all the Ugnaughts know each other or something.
Maybe it's just a Ugnaught name that they recognize or something.
Could be an Ugnaught name. Could be. I mean, maybe he was like a famous. I mean, he was retired. He could have been a famous.
Could have been a famous Ugnaught.
Ugnaught at one point or another. Yeah, I mean, he's clearly, an excellent craftsman, as as is the case with these other ones. But of course, he then they start paying attention immediately and ends it with "I have spoken," and then they allow him to share the table with them and try asking and explaining things. And I think Bo starts talking about the malfunctioning droids, and one of them right off the bat's like starts denying it. You know,
I think they don't they don't like to be insulted in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so they then I think Din Djarin steps in and tries elaborating a bit on it, and without doing said insulting, and ends up or asks he'd appreciate their help, and so the one does give them the locations of the droids. Then on the Hyperloop, another Hyperloop back, it's just the mode of transportation on this planet.
Hyperloop.
I guess because I should probably say I don't think they explain it, but it's assumed that the atmosphere is not breathable on this planet. Because they're that's not true. They are outside.
No, because they were outside Mandalorian.
So what are the domes for then?
Maybe it's just the way that
wait a
they
minute.
just wanted to cover something.
Do they have their helmet? No, they don't have their helmets on. I don't know. Unless they are in a big, they're not in a big dome or anything like that.
Unless the city is just more built underneath the ground kind of thing. I don't know. Could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's Star Wars. There's no logic behind why.
Right. I mean, I guess they're just buildings. They're just buildings.
Right.
But so they so I guess those locations, and on the Hyperloop they to the next location, which is the docks. That's when Din Djarin is explaining to Bo-Katan about how, speaking of their work being malfunctioning, is an insult to the Ugnaughts, and how the docks are most likely the next place for incident, per their calculations, I guess. But Bo says she hasn't seen battle droids since the Clone Wars. But
Clone Wars name drop. What?
Mm-hmm. another name drop, yeah. But I guess Din Djarin has. Did we see them in a previous Mandalorian episode that you can think of?
What, the droids?
Yeah, battle droids specifically.
Like I think it was like the first or second season when he was having flashbacks to his childhood about droids.
Oh,
I think it was first season.
Oh, that's right. That's why he doesn't like droids.
Yeah.
So, and when they get to the docks, we see a droid foreman, one of the battle droids, one of the classic battle droids. Perceivably the same voice that they've always had since.
It is definitely the same voice
since Clone Wars, since all of that. He tells them they need to vacate because they're not allowed there. Tries to get their identification, but they say they're on behalf of the Duchess, and the droid's like, what? You know, he's heard, he read about that or he heard about that. But then he's talking about the entire line of loaders being on some sort of maintenance protocol, and then we see Din Djarin a couple of times kind of waves in front of the faces of the loader droids, and the droid gets kind of nervous. He's stuttering. Because he's trying to explain the certification or whatever that's being used here, and
because he reprogram them or something like that to make sure there's no problems.
Right, and then. But he's also nervous because he sees Din Djarin doing this, and he says, "Stop doing that. I wouldn't do that if I were you." And he says, "Well, because they are all battle droids." And he said, "Well, that shouldn't be a problem." And so then he decides to really test it and just gives him a bigger push, or kick, I guess. The first one kind of stumbles back on his feet, and then the next one he manages to knock over and immediately gives him a big old swing back right into his helmet and kind of pushes that droid foreman out of the way and goes running off. So then it's a chase.
Yeah.
Into town, city area.
The social center.
The social center, which in hindsight reminds me a bit of what the Coruscant city kind of looks like also in there. Yeah. But he starts running through a crowd. The droid starts running through a crowd, and throws a box back at them, and then kind of jumps up and smashes down on a speeder, then lifts up I don't know what kind of a thing. It almost looks like
looks like a lamp post or something like that, but I don't know.
Something like
it blew up.
Heater or something, yeah, because he chucks that back at him, and that explodes. Then, so they're hot on the pursuit, and Mando decides to split off, and then we see him shortly thereafter dive through a window and tackle the droid, and Bo-Katan proceeds to shoot it from behind and takes it out.
Kill it. Dun, dun, dun.
Then these, I don't know what else to call them, police bots show up.
Yeah.
And they do some kind of, because they treat it as a crime scene, and they put up some kind of quote-unquote tape that, the police tape type of thing, but it's like projection, I guess.
It's like digital tape.
Digital tape, yep.
Digital tape.
Kind of like how movies are now.
Yep.
Digital tape.
Right.
So then Bo finds what they call a spark pad on.
Still don't understand what that is, but a spark pad.
If it's like a business card or something or what, but it was from, it says the Resistor on it, which Mando thinks right away sounds like a droid bar, which also has the address on it. So they go to set address.
Very right.
They were right. He was right. They go to said bar, the Resistor, and they find a bunch of droids in there with these, what looks like drinks connected through a tube. All of them, of course, they need to drink it somehow. We don't know yet what this is, but as soon as they enter, all the droids stop everything they're doing, just kind of stare at them. And then there's a comment about how they don't get many of their kind there, which immediately thought was harkening back to.
We don't get many of your kind here.
I was half expecting them to say like, "Get out! We don't take your kind here," as a direct. I mean, I'm sure that's what this was though. Was another reference back to A New Hope with the cantina.
Yeah, it was definitely something like that.
Right. So doesn't take long. They start questioning the bartender, and it doesn't take Mando very long to, even despite Bo-Katan warning him to let her talk before any of this, he threatens the bartender with, because he's kind of denying things initially, and holds like a taser-like thing up to its neck, and Bo sets him aside and, has to talk in private, and she's talking about how they're programmed to be illogical, and he points
scared the ever-living radiator fluid out of them. If I could speak droid, that would be the closest I could try.
Yeah, so as she sets him aside, she talks about how they're programmed to be logical, but he points out how they're they're also programmed to not kill organics. And then the bartender kind of steps in and says he wants to help, and that human life is that's kind of interesting.
Help.
Wants to help, and that talks about how human life is so short and that they don't ask for that much in return, basically. Like, which I thought was like, wow, that's an interesting way to look at it. But then he, the bartender proceeds to talk about all the droids. Oh, because Bo-Katan asks, or what Bo or Mando, one of them asks, what if they could find out what the drinks were served to which droids, and then the bartender says, well, they're all served this Nepenthé, which is like a viscous lubricant that protects them while also patching in the reprogramming. Apparently, that's how this works.
They had a tainted supply of it, huh?
Perhaps that's the case. And then the bartender, that's when he finds out, you'd think the droids would be able to figure this out sooner, being all logical and everything, but that's when he notices that they all drank from the same batch of Nepenthé, all the malfunctioning droids. So that sends them off to a lab of some kind that they have some sort of technician there, which scans and isolates the subparticles of the Nepenthé that the most recent droid, the one that was part of this crime scene, had in them, and that as soon as Mando asks what the chances are of it still being active, this is it like not a probe droid or one of those circular droids, or spherical droids. It's like this. It's what's weird is it's similar to the one that was gonna like interrogation droids that like
it just made to look more friendly with the white coat of paint.
More like a medical version of it.
Yeah.
But immediately after that, it starts firing off these lasers, and the technician gets hit, and then Bo-Katan tries shooting at it unsuccessfully. Then Din Djarin has to use the darksaber to slice right through it, and yeah, it turns out it's still active. So they go ahead and further analyze the Nepenthé, and they see that it actually has nano droids in it. Not to be confused with midichlorians. That's a very different thing.
These are robots. That's cellular stuff.
And they zoom in on it a little further, and they think at first Din Djarin points out a little anomaly in it, which after further inspection it was actually writing on the nano droid, which had a chain code in it, and which is like, boy, that's kind of funny that if you didn't want to get caught, that you would leave something like that on there. But
yeah, whatever. Still has a chain code that can be found. Weird. But guess you didn't cover your tracks that well.
No, but they were able to link it back to the security office, or that it was requisitioned through the security office, which was apparently illegal. But they're able to find out that it was ordered from the Commissioner Helgait, which we find out was Christopher Lloyd's character, in fact. So they go back to their security office and start questioning him about it. And he immediately, well, first he acts like he's busy, can't talk, and then they tell him they're gonna have to take him in, and then he flips up the cover to that big red button and says, and not that it's not exactly what he originally said it would. It wouldn't turn off the droids. It would actually turn them back into battle droids.
Revert them back to their original programming.
And then he goes on a interesting side tangent about how Count Dooku was a visionary and cut short in time by Jedi Enforcer, and that's when Bo shoots him on the shoulder with.
Now, was he gonna say Anakin Skywalker?
I mean, yeah. It was either gonna say Anakin. I mean, yeah. It's literally we saw him. We saw. Then again, I mean, Palpatine is the one that talked him into it, I guess.
Or were they going to say Jedi Enforcer Darth Vader? No, I wouldn't do that.
Because he wasn't yet.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so they just didn't want to name drop him there. Because actually, I was thinking, do they ever, like, even when Luke is in the series, do they name drop him at all? I don't think they do. Despite him having lines and everything. They don't want to use Skywalker at all in this, I feel like, you know.
You just know, like, you don't even need to name them. True fans know. They're like, oh,
yeah.
I know who that is.
Right. But also, this isn't the Skywalker saga. Like, I think they want to separate themselves, which is totally understandable.
Well, they're also trying to explain some of the pieces of the last 3 movies. So,
yeah.
But I'm trying to make it without the Skywalker element as much as possible.
So what is this thing Bo shoots? It's out of her wrist, like a paralysis,
like electrical. Like, think about it as a stun gun or taser.
Yeah. It's basically like a taser bolt of some kind, but blob
dart
thing,
taser dart
thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So and then he falls over from that, and she says politics. And then we hear him groaning in the ground. So obviously it was not a. First I thought she just straight up killed him, but no, that's not the way.
Groan.
Then we're seeing the Royals, the Jack Black and Lizzo. They're playing some sort of. They look like big potato bugs or something like.
Yeah, they're like colorful potato bugs.
Roly-polies or whatever you want to call them.
Something, yeah.
Like giant versions of that, rolled up. But they're using them as I guess balls for this game where you roll them, like underhand them through these.
They bounce
targets that have, interesting, and then they bounce on each other. They bounce back on the bugs themselves.
Gosh. I was like, interesting.
Through more of these targets. I don't know what the name of that game is, but I'd love to know. So they then Bo, Mando, and they walk over with this with Christopher Lloyd's character with Helgait, and they explain it was him the whole time, and they show very much they're very disappointed, and so Helgate's basically like, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black. whatever the Star Wars version of that phrase is they use, and he because of his past, of course, and it doesn't take long. And then Lizzo basically was like, I just can't we all just get along, basically. and then he very quickly doesn't take long for him to show remorse pretty quickly from that. And he just hopes that one day he can be forgiven. Then she says, Well, I hope so
Be
too.
gone with him.
But yeah, off with his head. No. In the meantime, you have to live in exile on the moon of Paraquat. And then he
Yep, that's the name.
slowly.
I don't even know.
He slowly walks off with head down. I don't know if I assume somebody else was taking him away, but they then give them access to the group of privateers, the Mandalorians, and also their highest honor, the key to pleasure.
Yay!
Like the key to the city. And then just icing on the cake, they give Grogu knighthood. She knights him right there.
He's a knight of pleasure.
Yeah, it's what I've always wanted.
Yes.
I
He's
want
like,
to be a knight of pleasure.
"Ah!"
So then they take Grogu back and head once more back onto the Hyperloop, and they are arriving on landing field 3.
You imagine though if they would have picked instead of Lizzo like Paris Hilton.
Oh goodness.
Puppy.
Oh yeah. What's she up to these days?
She's a DJ or something now in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll run into her in a couple weeks.
Something tells me it won't, but good luck.
Thanks. So yeah, you can kind of tell Bo-Katan is showing her doubt that she's not going to be able to persuade the rest of the Mandalorians there or Night Owls. I don't know if they're still using that name or not, but
I don't know if they didn't really say what they're just the Mandalorians, the privateers.
Right. But then Djarin kind of gives her some reassurance, and when they arrive, when we arrive, we see that Axe is drinking out of a mug of sorts, which it's so funny how Star Wars uses like daily things. You can just get it anywhere, and I swear I have this mug somewhere. It's probably like a branded one or something, but pretty sure I have the exact same mug he has, which I understand because it's all shiny and chrome. Like that's what a Mandalorian would drink from, But so when
It's Beskar.
Yes,
Probably not. But.
I don't know. But as soon as they arrive, he asks if she's back to join them. She says she's actually come to reclaim the role of leader there, and he says it's no longer it's not. It's no longer hers. It's his now, and that he's grown quite fond of it. And so Bo decides to challenge him, to which he accepts, of course. And then they just start fighting right there. No, like we're not gonna bother moving to the parking lot or anything.
Just up and away.
It was like, wow, just right in the middle of everyone. All right. So he starts shooting. He shoots right away, and then she uses her jetpack up, and then kind of gives him the old jump kick, knocks him over, and then suddenly it's a knife fight. We got a knife fight here, folks. They both pull out their slice and dice tool of choice, and then we do see that Sasha Banks' character is there looking on. Which is... I could remember her name better. I'm sure you've got it. Casca Reeves. Okay, got it. Casca Reeves looking onward. And then he proceeds to dive into her. There's a bunch of punching, kicking. There's a rocket launch. And then another jetpack usage.
Jetpack dive.
Jetpack dive. A lot of fighting here going on. It's hard to do this as like
a lot of Mando hitting. Mando's hitting everywhere. There's
lots of Mando's being thrown about.
Mando's kicks. Mando kick. Mando punch.
It's hard to commentate after the fact, but then that's when we get Bo-Katan holding a knife to his neck and asking if he yields, to which he answers by using his jetpack to fly them up to the top of her ship. He punches her a few times, knocks her down, then she grapples him to bring him down with her. And he uses his flamethrower, to which she responds with her hollow shield, if you can call it that. And then she once more shoots up and back down, knocks him down, and once again holds a knife to his neck, this time on his back, and once again asks if he yields. Which he doesn't really. He just talks of how she'll never be their true leader again, and how she won't even take the dark saber from Djarin. And then Bo starts kind of giving a speech, and and then Axe right away talks about how he doesn't even have Mandalorian blood, and
he's not a true Mandalorian.
Right, to which Bo responds by saying that he gave the oath and that he walks the way and everything. Then Djarin right away is like, "Hey, you can have it though. You can have the darksaber," which and they try telling him how you can't. Only the true
doesn't work like that, dude.
Right, how it doesn't work like that, and how again you have to defeat the enemy to get the darksaber. And this one was kind of convoluted, but he starts explaining of how he was captured and how the creature on Mandalore took the darksaber from him, and how she defeated the enemy that defeated him. So he asks, not once but twice, would it belong to her then? And they all kind of like ponder. They're just kind of like giving a puzzled look. And
they're like, yeah.
Axe says, yeah, it would. So then this whole episode ends with a big old dramatic. Well, after Djarin goes ahead and gives the darksaber to her, there's a big dramatic scene ending with her igniting the darksaber downward and Djarin next to her, kind of zooming out, panning out to some dramatic music, and then end scene.
It's just like in Rebels when she got the darksaber and she lifted it up and ignited it. So.
Oh, was a pretty similar scene. I don't even remember now.
Yeah, I think it was like the last season of Rebels, one of the close to it, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I enjoyed this one despite it being a filler episode.
It's
a good filler episode.
Yeah. I mean, some things I like about it, but. Oh, you want my thing? I'm going 3.2.
3.2. Whew.
Yeah, I was not. I didn't really enjoy this episode. I got some things out of it, but like, okay.
I think the cameos really did it for me. Really, really upped it.
Cameos didn't do it for me this time. Like, it was cool to see them, but I was just like,
I think there was a lot, despite the fillerness of it. I really did enjoy this one.
I felt like they could have added more actual story to what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Kind of just. It did. This one was my least favorite one of the season. Well, the series I'd say.
Yeah. I still felt really good about this. I'm still gonna say 4.0 for this one, which is probably the biggest difference we've had before. But
yeah, I didn't really enjoy this one.
It's fine because it's still lower. Even with my 4.0 in there, that's still the lowest rating we've had of an episode. Or no, definitely is so far. But that's all right. Got to have those filler episodes in there sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, now we only have 2 more episodes to go, so it's like, they got a lot to fill in here.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it was fun. I don't know. I had fun though. It was a good ride.
Maybe it's the whole Lizzo thing. I don't know. I just
I mean, I will say, like, she might be new to acting. Like,
yeah, that's what I think did it for me. Is like
her singing. I'm like, again, I don't really listen too much to her, but I'm sure she has a fantastic singing voice. Obviously, getting into that acting groove, you know. I could tell Sasha Banks though. I think she's improved. I want to say. I don't even know if she had speaking lines in season 2.
She didn't really have speaking lines on either of them. Just like 1 or 2 lines, and that was it.
Yeah. And in this one, it was just when they were hauling that guy off the ship, right? Like that was
right. And that could have been just her later going in a recording booth and saying it because.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of the voiceovers are actually being like a recording booth.
Yeah, they have that ability. Although didn't people say with season 1 like it was still Pedro Pascal most of the time in his armor?
I think so. Now they got two other guys that do the Mandalorian.
Right. I mean,
he just basically is the voice now.
Just gonna mimic his
unless
movements.
they need him to show his face, I guess, right?
Right.
It gives him more capability of doing the other show. This is Us. Or Last of Us. This is
Us. That's a very different show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, it's been real. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. If you want to reach out to us, if you have anything to correct or any feedback whatsoever, you can do that at disnerdsplus@gmail.com. The website is disnerdsplus.com. We are recording, at least for the next 2 weeks, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/shavemaddox. You can find Mike at cool8cucumber, and you can find me at shavemaddox. Thanks again, everyone. Until next time, this is the way.
Bye, guys.
And I said make it so. What's the thing that the Quill says? The Ugnaughts.
I have spoken.
I have spoken. Thank you very much. Bye. I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
I've spoken.
Yeah. It's like I hate when my brain doesn't work, but it's like there's so many things to know in Star Wars. So many names and phrases.
So many things.
And it's only getting worse. The world or the galaxy just keeps building.
Just wait until Ahsoka comes out. Oh my god.
Yes.
Whenever that is. I think that's later this year. Secret Invasion will be out next June.
Hey, Herschel. Nice of you to show up. Just kidding.
Hey.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing that. Maybe you've been in the background the whole time, like been lurking.
Lurking in the background.
He gave the mic command there. I don't know if you have that up, but the exclamation point mic. He still has a command that says, "As everyone knows, for now and for always." Mike is absolutely right.
Right. That's right. Right.
We didn't mention how this is now officially the third, as we talked about. Oh, you know what? I didn't talk about it on the show. Hopefully I'll get to it next time. But the two things. Well, first off, it's hilarious that I think we just talked about last episode. How I was listening back. How think we'll get to see Sasha Banks and another guy again. Literally,
Yeah.
he talks about that, and then the very next episode. And I even said there, I was like, I doubt it, but I hope so.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? That's weird that you just mentioned that.
Yep. And then what was the other thing? What was the other thing we were just talking about? I lost it because there's two things I just thought of. Yeah, I don't know. But
sorry, tired.
Yep.
Tired.
I'm gonna go eat something and post this.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe play a game or something. I don't know.
There you go. Nice. Crap, what was the other thing I was gonna say?
Don't know. What were you gonna say?
Not sure. Not entirely sure. But must not
Yep. I don't know what you were gonna say there. Go.
Yeah. Those characters. Yeah, I don't know. Can't think of it. All right. Well, I suppose a nice.
Have a good
game
night.
of chess.
Good job. We did another one. Yeah.
Yay! All right, and then I will hopefully be back on for a while Wednesday at 9ish here. All right, see y'all later. Bye now.
Bye.